Hello FlossTube, my name is Leann and I am leann.stitches here on YouTube and on Instagram. Today is Sunday, January 30th, and this is my 27th FlossTube. I just want to say thank you to all of my subscribers and returning viewers because I hit 1,000 subscribers a couple of days ago and it's so cool. Honestly, I'm not here to make revenue off of Instagram. So as soon as I can figure out how, I'm going to be turning off the ads just because I do this for fun, not for revenue, and nothing against anyone who does that because I totally get it. It's just not for me. So like I said, as soon as I can figure it out, I will be turning them off. It's been 3 weeks since my last video for a lot of reasons. Number one being that I lost my stitchy bug. I had a lot of plans that I made at the end of my last video, and I'm not sure if they overwhelmed me or what happened, but after about a week of my stitchy bug being absolutely crazy, where I wanted to both work on all of my whips means work in progress if you're new here, and I wanted to start all the things at the same time. And it kind of drove me a little crazy, and I think it killed my stitchy bug. And the second reason is that I started reading a book series called Zodiac Academy that put me in a big funk. It's a very good series. There's still one more book to be released in December, but it was heavy, meaning I like books with happily ever afters. I like to read a lot of romance novels because I know that things will work out in the end, and I need a little bit of happy in my day-to-day life. But there was none of that. And so I kept reading, kept hoping that things would get happier, and things just got like more and more depressing. So it put me in a little bit of a funk, and all I wanted to do was read and get to that it must be happy ending, and it never happened. So I kept reading and kept getting more in a funk and didn't stitch. So here we are. I'm going to try to make a quick video to show you what I've been doing for the last 3 weeks so that we can move on, because my stitchy bug is starting to come back. I do have some model stitching that I need to do, which will probably kill it a little bit, but I'm hopeful. So after all of that, 2.5 minutes in, let's get to the stitching. The very first thing I have to show you is a finish, and I'm so very excited. Here is the Fox by Cottage Garden Samplings, and I loved this from start to finish. I loved it. I stitched this on 32 count Belfast, dyed by me on, it's my colorway called Morning Mist. And I put this on a 1/4 yard because I intend to stitch all 3 pieces in the winter series side by side. I'll say something about that in a minute because here it is. I'm so excited. I wonder if I sit here and smile long enough, if this will be my thumbnail instead of some crazy-eyed, wide-eyed look that I normally get. So I stitched this, like I said, on 32 count Belfast in my colorway Morning Mist, which is Forbidden Fiber Co. I always link my shop down below. And I used the called for DMC, and then I converted the 2 classic colorworks into Forbidden Fiber Co. floss. So I used Vanilla Blossom instead of chalk, and amber instead of burnt orange. So it's that white color and the darker orange that you see. And I just loved it. And last time, I think it was, I had a question about whether or not I should use the light green because I was worried it would get washed out. And I think it turned out good. I did end up using the called for DMC. Some of my snowflakes did get washed out in the wider parts of the fabric where I have some modeling, but I totally dig it. So yeah. So I'm gonna bring this piece back out in a minute when I talk about plans. So I'm just gonna stick that right here instead of throwing it on the ground. The next piece I have to show you is Temperature Butterflies by Stitchin' Mommy. And this is something I'm trying to do this year just because I think it would be fun to see what the weather does. We always talk about the weather and changes in the weather and patterns, and I think this is a really fun way to actually document that. So I'm stitching this on a mystery 32 count linen. I'm not sure if it's Zweigart or not. Oh, it is. It's got the orange, so it must be Zweigart. It's a blue, light blue I am stitching 1/1, which I'm slightly regretting because when I started this, I thought this was 28 count and it's not, it's 32 count. So it is very teeny tiny stitching, but it's fun. And as you can see, our weather has been all over the place. The way this works is it starts up here. This is January 1st, and then it goes over here, and this is January 2nd and January 3rd and 4th and etc. And you kind of stitch the whole butterfly as you go down. So it makes it a little harder to tell what the weather is doing because you can't just look, say, one wing down and then two wing down, and that's January, but it makes it pretty. So there's that. I decided to try to stitch this on Temperature Tuesdays, which is a hashtag that's going around, and to just stitch 1 week at a time, because then if the temperatures are in any way normal, I think I've got about 4 degrees per color. I'm using the varied chart. So it goes up to about 90 degrees and it goes down into the 20s, which is fairly consistent with our weather. So I'm stitching it by week so that if I have several days in a row that are within those 4 degrees, then I don't have to keep cutting my floss. I do need to catch up because, sorry, my husband just texted me and it distracted me. I do need to catch up because I need to get February's butterfly outline stitched. So hopefully this Tuesday when I go to stitch the temperatures, it's actually going to be February 1st. So I'm going to need to start that butterfly. So we'll see how that goes. The next piece I have to show you is Halloween at Cochrane Hollow. And I am stitching this with Sam from Sammy Liz and Sarah from Memphis Sarah E and Bobby from Pumpkin Creek Primitives. And I don't know why I can't say that name yet. I say it every week pretty much. Our hashtag is Halloween at HRHSal if you would like to stitch along with us. And I started this in 2020 and they started it last year. And when I found out they were starting it and doing a SAL, which SAL means stitch along, I begged them to join and I pretty much forced my way in and they were nice enough to let me in. So we have fun and we actually did a Zoom call a few weeks ago, finally. And I got a lot of progress done because I did the Zoom call with them, which we chatted for probably a good 2.5 hours or so. And then I kept stitching on it and my husband and I were watching a show. I can't remember which one it is at the moment, but we stayed up way too late watching the end of the show. So I got a lot done. And here is where I'm at on the second block. And I got the rest of this blue filled in. I think that fish might be new, but I got all of the rest of this medium blue filled in and I started on the dark blue and I got this necklace done and that fish and that wheel. I think that's a wheel. So I got a lot done and I loved stitching on it as always. And I'm really hoping I can finish this block in the next couple of months. We'll see how it goes because I don't tend to stitch on it a lot when I'm not Zooming with them and we don't Zoom a whole lot, but I'd really like to get some significant progress on this year. So we'll see how it goes. The next piece I worked on is, sorry, I keep getting a million texts right now. Everybody decided to text me while I'm filming, so it's distracting me a lot, and I'm sorry. The next piece I worked on is my Words to Live By series, and I started this in 2020 as well, and I love stitching on it. I don't know why I don't pull it out more often. These little squares go so fast, and they are so fun. I don't know what my problem is. So here is where I'm at. I started this square. And it says, act as if what you do matters. It does. And I got about halfway done. There's a banner right here that says matters. And so that's going to be a lot of stitching. But yeah, these are little bees that I think need to be outlined when they're done. And I just worked on that for one night. So, I mean, 2 nights and I could probably get an entire block done. And so I'd like to do a block a month. Obviously, I didn't finish January's block. So we'll see how that goes. can't control my stitchy bug though, so, you know, I'm sure you know the struggle. The next piece I worked on is God Shed His Grace, and I wouldn't call this a focus piece this year, but I would like to get some significant progress on it because it is extremely large. It is over 500,000 stitches, and I don't want to take 10 years to finish it. However, that said, this is where my stitchy bug kind of went kaplooey because I was stitching on it and I had so many other things I wanted to stitch on that week because I was trying to get a lot in to film on Sunday. And so I only stitched 300 stitches on this, and I couldn't even point to you where they are because it was so long ago, but hopefully the comparison starting picture will show you. I know I worked on gray. I might have done this up here, maybe. Couldn't tell you. It was 2.5 weeks ago. But yeah, I stitched on this, and then it was Friday or Saturday, and I knew I needed to work on Marvel, which, if you noticed, I did not show you my Marvel's Hero piece because I did not work on it at all. Anyway, I was working on that thinking I have to work on Marvel. It must have been Friday night saying I need to get more stitches done because I need to work on Marvel tomorrow for Superhero Saturday Sal. I'll put that up there. And then I still hadn't worked on Quaker Pumpkins for Whip Go because I needed at least one more night for Whip Go. And I got super stressed out. And then I think that's when I started that book series, and it was gone. It just disappeared, and I didn't work on Quaker Pumpkins. I haven't touched Marvel. So yeah. And for that hashtag that I put up there, Superhero Saturday Sal, normally I work on my Marvel Heroes piece every Saturday plus 30 minutes a day, Monday through Friday. So I am working towards a page finish, and I am like 600 stitches away from that page finish, and I just can't make myself work on it. So there's right there is an iPad that my mom sent me to try that new program, which is like RX Markup or something like that, that works on Apple, that I'm able to download the PDF into and actually make it work, which it doesn't work on Pattern Keeper. And I still can't make myself finish that page. It's killing me. I'm trying not to dwell on it because it's obviously affecting my stitchy bug, but that's where I'm at. I have a couple more pieces to show you now that I have interrupted the progress. Another piece I worked on was Consider the Lilies by Heartstrings Samplery. And I just realized I haven't told you hardly any of the fabrics I've been working on. God Shed His Grace is 18 count Aida, just white Aida. The Tiny Modernist is on a 32 count even weave. No, Belfast linen that I hand dyed in a gray color. I don't have a comparable colorway in my shop right now. Maybe charcoal morning mist might also be a good substitute. Anyway, that's what those were. Consider the Lilies, Heartstrings Samplery. I worked on this a lot. I worked on this for like 3 days. I picked it up and I couldn't stop, and I got a lot done. I don't even know how I'm going to show this to you because this fabric is so big. I have an entire yard of fabric for this. I'm stitching it on 28 count hand-dyed fabric. Up until this point, I have not been able to recreate this colorway. And after I showed it on my last video, Zan from Crazy Band Lady Stitches contacted me and said she wanted to start this, and she wanted the same fabric as I had, and could I please dye her some? And I hadn't attempted to do it yet. My dyeing style has changed a lot since I did this, but I did. I pulled out the formula, I revamped it for my new dyeing style, and I got some dyed for her. So it's not in the shop yet because I only did that one piece of fabric for Zan because I needed to do a whole yard. But it will be called Meadow when I do get it in the shop. So there's where I'm at. Oh, and all that fell, all my careful folding. So I think I worked some of this border down here. I did this little bee maybe. I can't remember what I showed you last time versus this, but I think I was working on this flower and I got that all the way done and more border. And the bottom of this flower is where the Consider the Lilies line starts. And that was my goal. I wanted to get to that part, and I wanted to start the verse, and I wanted to take it page by page all the way across to get to the other side, and then bring it back up and kind of finish the top part of the sampler. My reasoning is that I want to make sure that the borders match, but really sometimes with a big piece like this, you just have to play games. And honestly, I think that's what it's about, is that I need to play a game with myself and make a goal. And I will probably change that goal 50 times throughout the year. But right now it's making it interesting. So we're just going to go with it. 28 count cashel, colorway Meadow, not currently in the shop, but will be at some point in the future. The last piece I have to show you is the 2021 Sal from Victoria Sampler. This was free in their Facebook group up until the end of 2021, and they are now selling them in their shop block by block. I don't think they have all of the blocks up yet, but they do have some. And I am stitching this on 28 count cashel. It's still on the Q-snap in colorway Dovetail. And the way that the pattern was written was it was kind of like a choose your own adventure. So you choose your own colors. They give you, they charted it in color, but they didn't give you called for colors. So you kind of interpret it as you want. And this is the January block. It's almost done. There is a line of specialty stitches that goes right here that I didn't do because I don't have, it needs like a dark blue and I didn't have any of that in my stash. So I still need to do that. And also that will be the outline on the snowman's mittens. And this is doesn't look like it's coming out very clearly. The other thing I need to fix is that I did this border 2 stitches too tall. So I need to bring it down because it should butt up against the top of those Christmas trees, or pine trees as they were, because this is January, not Christmas. I did change on this little shed or house or whatever it is. It was charted to say Jan for January, but none of the other blocks had any months on them. So I put my initials in there instead. And the other change kind of that I made, because like I said, there's no called for colors, is that the trees were charted in gray and black and I wanted them to be green. So I made them green. Yeah, that's about it. This is my first time really doing specialty stitches and I loved it. It was fun, something different. There are these up here. I don't know what they're called, but there are these up there. And then there are some in there that are kind of hard to see because it's on a lighter part of the fabric, stitched in white. But yeah, this has been fun. This has been my project for the last 3 or 4 nights, and it's kind of what's gotten my stitchy bug back. So I think I'm going to put it away for a week or 2 before I start on the February block. And when I start on the February block, I will fix the border on the January and kind of frog back and then restitch that top line. So that's all the stitching I've done over the last 3 weeks, minus my model stitching, which is going along. So I'm trying to do 300 stitches a day on that so I can meet my deadline, and I haven't stitched on it the last couple of nights. I had a wicked headache the last few nights, the last few days, and I don't know what it's related to, if it's my B12 or allergies. I did something. Oh, I went and looked at a building on Friday, and it used to be a restaurant, and I'm trying to buy a new studio space. Well, number one, I rent right now. And so I'm looking at things that I can buy. Not that I have the money to buy, but I'm looking at what's around just to kind of get an idea. And I don't know if it affected my allergies or what, but I spent the rest of Friday, all day Saturday, and half the day today with the worst headache right there and miserable. So I did stitch on that last night, but I think I'm going to put it away and focus back on my 300 stitches, model stitching a night, and then a new start, because finally, the swans have arrived. This is the second part of that, of the Year in the Woods series. That's the word I'm looking for. Series by Cottage Garden Samplings. I have been waiting for this forever. It has been, okay, so this is the second one I've ordered actually. The first one I ordered has been stuck in Memphis at the distribution center since January 8th. Today is the 30th. That is 22 days. this. So I ordered another one and it got here last week. And then again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stitch it on right next to the fox. And I'm going to butt the trees up against each other so there's literally no break. Like if you see, I've got this line that I put in there that helped me find the center of this third of the fabric so I could make sure that I could fit all three on a page. And then as I saw people start to stitch the swan, I saw them just butt the trees right up against there. So as you can see, these trees match these trees. And so I'm just going to stitch it right next to it. Now, the one thing that I didn't account for is that the fox is actually supposed to be in the middle. Because it was the first one in the series, I stitched it as if it was the first one in the series. And turns out the 12th one in the series should have been here. And the fox should have been here, and the swan should have been the third piece. So I'm a little worried that when I go to stitch this, that I'm going to stitch those pine cones over there. And then come December, when the 12th one comes out, it's not going to look right. But I'm going to go with it. I'm going to make it work somehow. So I'm again doing the same thing with the called for DMC and then with the two color and cotton. No, not color and cotton. Gentle Arts. I'm subbing out my floss. So again, it calls for chalk. So I'm using the same Vanilla Blossom. And then this one in here, this yellow green color, is Grecian Gold. And I didn't have anything like that. And I just dropped, oh really? I just dropped the DMC color somewhere. Where did it go? I just had it right here. Really? Guys, I'm so bummed. Okay, so when I looked up Grecian Gold to try to convert it or to dye a new color, because like I said, I didn't have anything like Grecian Gold, it said that I saw several different conversions that put it at 729, 733-ish. So I dyed a color, and I kid you not, it was exactly the same as the DMC. I think it was 731. I can't remember exactly, but it was exactly the same with just slight variations as hand-dyed floss tends to be. Then when the pattern arrived and I looked on the back, it has it converted at 831. 831 is completely different than 729, 733, whatever that number was. It is much greener. It's a little drab colored, if you know what I'm talking about, like that color drab, that's like this not quite green, not quite yellow. I just want to cry that I lost that floss. I don't know where it could go. Oh, I found it. Okay, so this is the color that it actually is. And so I went back to the dye pots and I probably mixed this color 5 times, and then I still didn't like it after I put the floss in the dye pot, so I added some more blue to make it a little greener. I didn't do the best job. I mean, the tone is there, but my floss, as you can see, is much lighter than the 831, and I'm okay with that. We're going with it because this is, like I said, it's a drab, and every color to me is beautiful, but I think I want this one. And if you look at the pattern where they've used the Grecian Gold, it's variegated enough that it catches both those light and dark shades. So I think I'm good. This colorway is going to be called Medallion, and it will probably go up into the shop, honestly, next month. We're working on Floss Club right now, so we're still trying to get Amber in from last month when I did it for the Fox. So honestly, it'll probably be next month, but you know, if enough people tell me they want it, I will do my best to get it in the shop. Anyway, I'm going to start that. I might even start that tonight. I think I might start that tonight. Yeah. I think that's my plan. Last, I'm not going to make a lot of stitching plans this week because I know I have that deadline for that sample, for that model stitch. So I've got 2 plans, is starting the swans and this one, my vintage black sampler by Owl Forest Embroidery. I am stitching on this with Sam from Sammy Liz, and we are not doing it in black. We are doing it in leftover fancy flosses and making it up as we go. Mine is going to be somewhat fantasy based, not completely. Here is my starting point. I have done the house and I did it in blue with a black roof and black little bricks, because there was this blue house when we lived in New Jersey that we used to pass anytime we went anywhere. I passed it every day on my way to work and I loved it. And so it was kind of like my dream house. It had a turret and I just thought it was so cool. So that's what I stitched this house after. And then I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do the guy and the girl. And then I might stitch this border and go down to the horse, but I'm not entirely sure because I kind of want to stitch some of these balloons. But anyway, this is going to be Willy Wonka. So he's going to be purple. And this is going to be Mary Poppins. And I found a picture of Mary Poppins wearing white and a pinkish red outfit as opposed to black, and a red and white striped umbrella. So I'm going to stitch her like that. And my goal for this piece is to get 2,000 stitches done every month. Or, you know, if I stitch more, that's great. Last month I stitched more because I wanted to finish the house and it was almost 3,000 stitches. But if I stitch 2,000 stitches a month, I will finish it by the end of the year because this was my new year, new start, and I really want to complete it by the end of the year. We'll see how that goes. So those are my plans. I would really like to try to stitch on Marvel again and get that page finished. Will I? I don't know. I'm going to stitch on my temperature butterflies, like I said. Those are all the plans I'm going to make because I do not want to kill my stitchy bug again by over planning. Okay. If you've made it this far, yay! I have a giveaway. I meant to do this at the beginning of January for my FlossTube anniversary, but we've been through that enough. You don't need to hear me talk about that again. But honestly, I just forgot because I've never done a giveaway before. So I'm not used to it and I just forgot. So we're going to do it now and you'll see why I'm telling you it's a little bit late. So it's half FlossTube anniversary, half yay 1,000 subscribers. But this is the Stitching Journal and Planner by Black Needle Society. I got it in my resolutions box last November-ish. I have a bullet journal that I use and I bought the 24 hours of cross stitch planner printables. And so I have been printing those out and taping them into my bullet journal to use as planner. So I will not use this. It obviously will not get to anyone until February, but I hope that's not too late for you. It is really neat. It has monthly tabs for you to track your stitching. It has things like to track your works in progress and your new purchases and all kinds of fun stuff. I'm not going to go through this whole thing. They also have these project trackers in the back, which I thought about keeping because I think they're really cool to put in your project bags, but the chances of me using these are slim to none. I will probably start and forget. So yeah, so I will give this away to someone who comments in the comment section. Use the word planner. Do not use the word free, giveaway, any of those words that attract the bots because I want this to go to one of my subscribers. You must be subscribed. You must be over 18 so that I can legally have your address. What are the other rules? This giveaway has no monetary value. If it gets lost in the mail, I will not be replacing it and I will not be giving any monetary compensation. So hopefully the USPS delivers it to your doorstep. Yes, that is all. So comment below using the word planner and be over 18 and be subscribed. And I will draw a winner using that comment generator thing app that everyone uses. I have to figure that out between now and next week. And yeah, that's everything. I hope you are having a good weekend. I hope you have a great week next week. And I hope that whatever you do, you lead with love. Bye.